Hi, friends. Let's take this episode to talk about setting goals that match your bandwidth right now so that you can actually achieve them. Now, I'm a big fan of setting big, audacious goals and really setting your sights high and going for it, whatever it is that's on your mind. But at the same time, sometimes you need to break those down or you need to just kind of give yourself a break because life is a lot right now, and it's not always possible for you to be at 100% when it comes to your business and your personal goals because life is happening. And so when we make goals that match our bandwidth, it means that we're less likely to burn out. It means we'll continue to have patience for our loved ones in our everyday lives. It means that we'll be able to keep our focus on the long-term vision without getting bitter about it or burning ourselves out. So my goal today is to give goal-dependent, maybe overachievers like you, something to focus on without burning yourself out in the process. The truth is that you're going to do a lot of good work in your lifetime, and it's not all going to happen in the next year, not even in the next month or even in the next 10 years. And so while we can't be sure about anything right now, there are some best practices that I'd like to recommend if you're the goal setting type. And you're probably not going to like my first suggestion, which is to get some rest first. Take a nap. And this is like the worst advice ever for some of us because as an overachiever myself, some days being told to take a nap or get some rest is the worst because I would rather work on something. I would rather get up and do the things and accomplish all the goals and feel super productive at the end of the day. And yet, you do still have to rest. So this can look like whatever is manageable for you right now. Just decide to prioritize your sleep. You can start by tracking your sleep, using your smartwatch or getting some kind of sleep or activity tracker to make sure that you are getting enough hours of sleep. The number of hours that you actually need varies because we're all different, and also there's some biased research out there, and also there are plenty of marketing bros who love to talk about how they only need like 4 or 5 hours, but you know what the number of hours are that fit your lifestyle, and so you can use whatever tools you have to start getting that under control. So use your smartphone maybe and start using the digital wellness tools to shut things down at a certain time of day. I know that there are different apps that you can use that will block you from using the apps that you spend too much time on. Whatever it is that you need to do for your own schedule so that you get more sleep, do it. The reason this is important is that there is a very real domino effect that happens when your body is well rested. You just feel better and you're less likely to snap at people and you're more likely to have some self-control when you're communicating with people via social media. You're more likely to educate yourself. You're more likely to get involved locally with your community or just generally believe in yourself. Then, as a little bit of a domino effect, maybe you'll feel rested enough to actually start that email newsletter or that podcast or that TikTok account. And it will all start slowly coming together. Of course, sleep isn't the only thing that you need to make that happen, but it's a really good starting line. Another suggestion that I have for your goal setting is to choose goals that center growth over production. And I know that you're itching to increase your engagement on social media and get ahead and produce content and launch the new thing. And that's good. Plans are good. Big goals are good. But unless you've already met with a lawyer and have staff members and plan to sell your incorporated company by, whatever year, you're probably a solopreneur. You probably have really good intentions and you're just honestly trying to do the best you can with what you have. Solopreneurship is beautiful and exciting, but it requires a lot of self-care. And that's because you are the brand. Devoting yourself to your business and growing a brand takes time and energy. So to preserve some of that time and that energy that you need to use to grow your brand, you can try waking up and grabbing your journal instead of your phone. Like plug in your phone and put it in a different room and don't touch it until you've written down a few sentences about your intentions for the day, how you're feeling, how much sleep you got, and things like that. The long-term advantage of this, of course, is that you get more anchored into your foundational beliefs, the things that are really you before you start being influenced by things on the internet. Another thing that you can do for your personal growth is, speaking of social media accounts, you can unfollow the accounts that make you feel guilty instead of empowered. And the long-term advantage of this is that your algorithm, your feed will start to curate itself and things will be suggested to you that are more aligned with what you actually want to see rather than forcing yourself to consume the messaging that people on the internet are posting just randomly or maybe in reaction to their own life situations. So these are things that you can do not to produce more, but just to curate your own life experience when it comes to social media. Or if you're feeling like you're a little overwhelmed with what you've been reading or consuming on social media, then you can cut back on it. You can read a book or a blog or a newsletter. You can uninstall your social media apps just so that you're not overwhelmed with content that's created, to be honest, to just like rattle you. The problem with short form content these days is that it's intended to be a little manipulative, even by good people, but like just to get eyeballs and get your attention for a few seconds. There are certain practices that people put in place that are not good for us in the long term, especially if you find yourself scrolling for hours. Another thing that you can do for your own personal development is to just set reminders for yourself on your phone to eat something, to drink something, to stop working and close your eyes and breathe for a few minutes. You can set reminders for those kinds of things and have them go off, once a day and focus on completing those things instead of staying caught up on what other people need from you. The long-term advantage of this, partially, is that you'll basically shed that capitalist fueled habit of working and hustling and working and producing. It's just not good to focus on that kind of stuff all the time. Like, yes, things need to be done, things need to get done, but you're allowed to figure out a way to pace yourself. And you'll also be setting a really good example for your kiddos, if you have any at home, or just the lives of young people in your life. You'll be fostering the kind of community that you may have wished that you had when you were growing up. Another thing that you can do for your goal setting, just to help things kind of move along, is to prioritize getting therapy or mental health help. Because I hate to break it to you, but you're probably depressed, like a lot of us are, but especially I think solopreneurs who are mission driven. Most of us are depressed or dealing with serious anxiety. And so right now, instead of setting a big lofty goal for yourself, maybe it's time to dig out the benefits packet if you have a day job that provides mental health benefits and see how many therapy sessions are included that you can use. Even if you don't feel like you need them right now, then browsing who is available and getting a therapist lined up so that you know who you would contact in case you do find that you're ready to talk to someone, that can be really beneficial. It can be good to know how much it would cost if you have a copay, or, it's like a chiropractic benefit where it might be an extra thing, but you still have access to a certain number of sessions. There are also other options, like if you're in the United States, there's something, actually, I don't know if this is available internationally, but there's something called the Open Path Collective, where you can talk to a therapist for as low as $60 per session. I've found my therapist on there, although I will let you know that a lot of therapists are in the directory, but they're no longer taking people at the discounted rate. So just expect to do a little bit of searching if you want to use their program, but it's a pretty good program. You pay a one-time life subscription fee. That's just the one-time thing, and it's not that much. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was doable, and it basically gives you access to the directory, and it honestly just makes your search for a therapist a lot easier. If you're not really into talk therapy, like maybe you tried it before, or maybe you can't afford it right now, or if you're just not interested in talking to someone, then, again, the journaling is good. If you find journal prompts, then that can be great. There's a newsletter for Rooted Respite, and they actually provide really good journal prompts almost every week. I think it's every week, where you can just ask yourself different questions to check in on yourself and see how you're feeling. If you're into astrology, I recommend the Chani app, Chani. There are journal prompts in there. So you can, think about what you're going through based on the times of year and what you're feeling. And it's just a really good practice to have for yourself so that you can ground yourself and know where you stand on a lot of issues. My final suggestion for you today is to not set goals by yourself. I know that you want to think big and you have a lot of plans, and, you absolutely can accomplish what you set your mind to, especially if you just use whatever resources are available to you. But at the same time, we are social animals. Even us introverts, even us folks with social anxiety, it's a lot better when you have support, whether that's in the form of people in person or an online community, or just really good friends that you can text back and forth with. It's easy to fall into the trap of only talking about superficial things, like which show should I binge next? Where should I go on vacation next? Those are all fun things to do and think about. But when you're setting goals for yourself, especially as a solopreneur, choosing a word or a phrase of the year or setting a SMART goal for yourself doesn't really have lots of meaning unless you integrate it into your life. And we need love and support and community to accomplish the things that matter to us, especially since I think a lot of the goals that you have for your life involve impacting other people, affecting the people that you love, the community that you care about in positive ways. And your goals really aren't just about you. So we want to stay focused. We want to stop going it alone. And so I recommend that you find a way to create accountability for yourself. Set some goals, but also let some people in. Create that accountability and make it more of like the gentle, compassionate kind that doesn't smush you into being the same person that you've been for the past few years. Find a good friend or coach or mentor. It could be me, but it could be anyone. And create a system of accountability for yourself. All right, friend, I'll leave you with that today. And I hope that you'll reach out if you find that you'd like to work with me in a more one-on-one kind of way. Otherwise, I hope that you're enjoying the content from this podcast and you've grabbed one of my zines and you're doing what you can with what you have to make the difference that you want to make in the world. I'll see you next time.